This is Dakota News Now, your first alert station.
Good evening, I'm Andrea Anderson.
I'm Brian Allen. While Apple Tree Children's Centers has announced a reversal of closing all 4 locations, saying that they will keep one open under a new director, parents still have questions.
Many of them wondering how a vibrant child care center changed so drastically that they'd announce closures in less than 30 days. Our First Alert investigator, Beth Warden, is looking for some answers.
It certainly has been frustrating for parents who have their kids enrolled at the Apple Tree Children's Centers in Sioux Falls recently. Apple Tree is a nonprofit, and we talked to an expert about what could be going on behind the scenes.
Apple Tree Children's Center changed to a nonprofit organization over 20 years ago.
501c3, a public charity recognized by the IRS.
We've asked nonprofit consultant Michael Weiland to review the public tax returns, which raise questions.
One of the board members, Randall Stewart, is both the board chair and the executive director. It's unusual for a single individual to hold both posts at the same time.
In addition to his executive director salary of just over $62,000 in 2022, he is also one of the landlords of Apple Tree.
He receives rental income from a number of the facilities that Apple Tree operates programs from. So apparently he is the owner or part owner of many of the locations that Apple Tree uses, of $526,000 in 2022.
So we're talking just under $600,000 income?
Yes. His wife draws a salary from Apple Tree, and his son draws a salary from Apple Tree.
The last 4 years of tax filings show a profit.
In fact, in 2022, their net revenue after expense was $1.2 million. And I can only speculate that something major must have happened during 2023.
We checked with the Department of Labor, which indicated there were no recent audits of Apple Tree or related company WL Incorporated. Court records reveal litigation underway regarding a child injured in their care, resulting in a partial amputation of a finger. While looking through returns, Weiland has advice for other nonprofits.
Have arm's length bidding opportunities so that if anyone questions whether or not an insider is gaining unfair advantage, you can document the fact that no, that's not true.
In Sioux Falls, Beth Warden, Dakota News Now.